Okay, so starting another build today. I'm going to do a table, and this is probably the easiest way I can think of to do this. Starting off with a butcher block countertop. This was 170 bucks from Home Depot. It's 74 by 25 by 1.5, although I got to unpackage it and get an actual measurement. I'd question whether it's a true 1.5 thick, and it's probably more like 25.5 wide. I'm only going to make it 6 feet long, but that gives me room to trim the ends when I get my hardwood added. So yeah, first step is to unpackage this thing, get it all measured. I'm going to put some hardwood in it. I've got a nice piece of Purple Heart here. I'll probably do 2 strips of that, maybe 3. Some walnut, at least 2 strips of that. And then I've got a couple of really nice boards of cherry that I'll put in there as well. Okay, so that was a really rough cut for a table saw. This thing is really powerful, and it had a tough time with this butcher block, which I'm not surprised. But it did get it, and it did get a nice edge on it. There's a couple little areas I gotta clean up, but nothing major. Okay, so we're ripped into 3 pieces. Got these 2 that I just did. This cut went a lot easier than the first one, probably because the board's so much lighter. And I got this one over here. Hindsight, and if I were to do this again, I'd probably lay some 2x4 on the ground and just use a straight edge in my circular saw. All right, welcome back. It is the next day. So I stayed out last night fairly late, cutting all that hardwood into strips. So you get some cherry, some Purple Heart. There are some burn marks that should stand out. More cherry and some walnuts. And again, I got same thing over here, another piece of cherry. And I already have my butcher block into 3 pieces. I am gonna have to smooth this somehow. All right, so I just have to clean these off and glue them up. I've got my clamps laid out pretty much everywhere, the whole length of the table. This is going to be the first side. I'm gluing on the factory edge because it's a lot smoother with less burn marks from my table saw than this one. All right, so I've got some glue on here. I just use a foam brush, and I pretty much start at the edge. And I get a good glue bead going and just roll it right across. Yes, I know I use way more than needed. But the thing with glue is I would rather use too much than not enough, because the excess is just going to squeeze out. And if there's not enough, you're starting over. And you know, for the $7 that the wood glue costs, I'll save myself a few hours of work. And I just spread it all the way like that. I gotta flip these up and clamp them, so I'm gonna set this down. All right, so got it glued and clamped. It's not as flat as I'd like it. Well, it's the next morning. Gotta pull the clamps off. Looks like all the glue's dry. I was really hoping to get away with not running this through the planer, but that Purple Heart is quite a bit higher than the other ones. I could possibly sand it out, but I don't know. I'm gonna get the other one glued up and assess it, but I'll probably have to run all 3 pieces through, probably 2 passes each side. All right, it is the next day. Last piece is all glued up. Just gotta remove the clamps still. All right, so I got them all planed. Managed to get one completely flat surface. The bottom, problem is I don't want to go any thinner, but the bottom you still have some glue lines and things like that, but it's the bottom, so I'm not super worried. This is the problem I've been having with my planer, is this snipe at the end here. I cut them to length. I've got about 69.5, not quite the 72 I wanted. But once I get them all glued up, I can do a final sand on these things. All right, so just got them laid out. Haven't glued them or clamped them or anything yet. But this is roughly what it's going to look like. It's 32 by 69 and a half. All right, so I'm getting ready to glue these up. I ran my stickers all through the planer real quick, just so that it'll be a good even height. And I'm laying some tape on the areas that the glue is going to go, just so they don't stick, basically. There's only going to be 2 glue lines, but instead of trying to cover the entire 2x4s with tape, just easier to do, 4 or 5 inches on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll apply some glue. All right, so we're all clamped up. I wiped away the excess on the top. It actually was bowing a little bit, so I had to do this here with some 2x4s clamped, and I taped them, of course, so they don't stick on there. Had to do that in 2 areas. This area, for some reason, if you look, was just completely level, didn't have to do anything. This area was bowing though, that's why I had to do that, to try to get it close to it. And I still didn't get quite all of it. There's a little bit there, but I got the majority. And over here is pretty much flat too. So just one more thing. This is why I just put the masking tape over where the glue joints are going to be. Because of that. You can just pop it right off. The last thing you want is to glue a 2x4 to a tabletop. This one, same thing. I already broke this one free, but popped right off. And now you just peel the masking tape off and you can reuse the piece of 2x4. I should note, I'm not very good with a router. All right, so just went around it. You can see one imperfection here. A lot of that's the way it glued up. There's like a low spot in the table. Other than that though, it went around it very smooth. Really nice edges on it. All right, we're back. It's another day. I hit some of the rough spots with some glue. I'm sure you can see that. It's just regular old super glue. Nothing fancy. So just a quick update, just sanded it all off with the 220. It was actually 240, I thought it was 220, but you can still see a few little areas. There's one there. There's a couple down here, but at least they're smooth to the touch. That one's the worst. My hands are in the way here, but get it from over here. But yeah, that's the worst one. All right, so I've got my plastic down, tabletop's up on it. This is the bottom side. I did wipe both ends down with mineral spirit on some cloth. Gave it a nice color actually. It's definitely soaking in, but I gotta let it dry before I put the first coat of varnish on it, which I did pick up. I decided to go with the water locks. I want to get the first coat on tonight, and I want to get that on the bottom side, because the bottom's only going to get 2 and the top's going to get about 5. But just cleaning it with mineral spirit, it does look a lot better. All the edges are done and everything, and all I used was just some Scott towels, nothing really special. And this is just painter's plastic, just to keep the dust from the table, from my bench here, getting on the table, I should say. So yeah, I just got to let this dry, and then I'll put my first coat on. All right, so I just went over it with a tack cloth, and this is why you always go over it with a tack cloth. Even after cleaning it with mineral spirit, I still got more off it. See, the other side that was on my hand is squeaky clean, this side is not. So yeah, even after wiping it down with mineral spirit, still got more dust off it. That would have been trapped in the finish. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour some of this out. I'm just pouring it into a little plastic container, and then I'm actually going to rub it on with one of those wipes, the same ones I used to wipe the mineral spirit on. I am going to wear a glove. But yeah, I'll get all that ready. I'll try to set the GoPro up somewhere where you can see it happening. So I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Legs are on. They showed up today, so I just screwed them on when I got out of work. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really just 6 wood screws to mount it. Kind of a trapezoid shape. I wanted to go open, so sitting at the end, you wouldn't be hitting your legs on it. I mounted them 12 inches in from each edge. I'm about to put my last coat of water locks on this. I know you're looking at it probably saying it doesn't even need another one. This is after 6. I just sanded this with 800 grit and went over it with a tack cloth. The coat before this I sanded with 600 grit and went over it with a tack cloth, and that's when it really started to gleam. So I'm just going to do one more. All right, just brought it inside. Got a few chairs around it. These are temporary. But yeah, in its new home, plenty of room for your feet and legs and everything underneath. Just a good around view.